And I got hooked. I'm addicted to it now. Been for a long time. Been fun.
And for others that might feel down on their luck, Buddy has some advice.
I just want to encourage you, you know, whatever you're going through, hopefully, you know, keep trying.
Buddy, an inspiration for us all. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Have a great night.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
It was the ideal marriage. Little did I know I was married to a man who had done something so horrible that it would devastate our lives forever.
Teacher of the Year is now charged with sex crimes.
Only on Hulu.
He was living a double life.
The shocking story behind a #1 true crime podcast.
Prostitutes, escorts. He even cheated on me the week of our wedding.
Betrayal, the perfect husband.
He had a lot of fantasies.
Now streaming only on Hulu.
From America's #1 news source comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter. And it can customize to you and your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience what all the buzz is about. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Tonight, all of the day's major developing stories here on Prime.
I'm proud to announce the subject is in custody.
Captured at last after 2 weeks on the run following a brazen escape from prison, authorities detained the convicted killer who eluded them for days. The incredible scene that led to that arrest and what, if anything, will change at the prison that allowed for his escape. Plus,
this kind of warfare isn't just highly technical, it's also highly dangerous. Because for the Russians, this guy is a high-value target.
Drone attacks in Moscow, the Black Sea, and on the battlefield. We're now in what's being considered the first ever drone war. In tonight's Prime Focus, we bring you rare access on and off the battlefield to the men and women leading this 21st century battle. And
think you can make a cake out of a sweet potato?
Absolutely, I can definitely do that.
Whether it's on TikTok or your TV, baking is having a resurgence. Tonight, we introduce you to the influencers bringing everyday baking into art and bringing along billions of viewers along for the ride. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the new flood threat facing millions due to Hurricane Lee as it barrels its way up the Northeast. Plus, why Elon Musk says AI bots could, quote, kill us all. A cruise ship runs aground in Greenland, the effort to get those still on board out, and why they could be stuck on that ship for days. And do we finally have proof of alien life? The one photo some say is the evidence we've all been looking for. Our correspondents are fanned out across the country covering those stories and much more for us tonight. But we begin with the dramatic end to the manhunt for that escaped convict who had eluded authorities for 14 days and kept thousands of people in communities west of Philadelphia on edge. Danilo Cavalcante was taken into custody just after 8 o'clock this morning. He was surrounded and surprised by a tactical team and ultimately taken down by a police dog named Yoda. After his capture, officers in camouflage, full armor, and long rifles led Cavalcante to an armored vehicle. A manager at a nearby John Deere store who watched him being taken away said that Cavalcante looked totally worn out and just seemed like he had given up. And tonight, Cavalcante is behind bars at a state prison serving the life sentence he was originally handed for the brutal murder of his former girlfriend in front of her small children. ABC's Trevor Alt leads us off once again in Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Tonight, escape killer Danilo Cavalcante finally captured in the woods of Pennsylvania. Officers in tactical gear loading him into an armored van 30 miles north of the prison he escaped nearly 2 weeks ago.
Our nightmare is finally over and the good guys won.
Authorities say officers cornered Cavalcante in South Coventry Township. A DEA plane with thermal imaging detecting heat signals around 1 a.m. about an hour after a home burglary alarm was triggered nearby.
Heat signature on the north side of the wood line, going into the woods.
Tactical units quickly converging on that area, a lightning storm then forcing that DEA plane to leave.
Use caution, they're trying to push the heat signature towards you.
Law enforcement forming a tight perimeter until sunrise.
And shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise.
Cavalcante lying prone in some underbrush, armed with that stolen loaded rifle, unaware they'd found him until he was surrounded.
That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went.
Customs and Border Patrol teams then releasing a canine, stopping the inmate from fleeing as officers followed behind. Cavalcante, ever defiant, resisting until he was forcefully captured.
Subject is in custody. Confirmed. Subject is in custody.
You said the subject is in custody.
Yes.
Cavalcante wearing that stolen Philadelphia Eagles shirt and work boots, a trail of blood down his face as he's taken away.
EMS has kind of worked on him in the parking lot, and they loaded him up.
That .22 caliber rifle stolen from a garage also recovered. Officials say Cavalcante never made it out of Chester County, and he was desperate for help.
You do believe people were intent in trying to help him, including his sister, but they weren't able to?
We believe they were intent. We believe there were some efforts made. We'll have to discuss whether we believe any of those rise to the level of criminal prosecution.
Cavalcante was serving a life sentence for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brandow. Her sister today posting, "We are deeply grateful for the support and hard work put in by law enforcement. These past 2 weeks have been extremely painful and terrifying."
It's quiet again. It's serene. Everyone can just exhale finally.
Tonight, this community, having endured 13 intense days with a murderer on the loose, finally breathing a sigh of relief.
We will be able to go back to feeling secure and safe and letting our kids play on the streets and ride their bikes and not be worried about them anymore.
Such a huge sigh of relief for that community, no doubt. Trevor Alt joins us now from Chester County. Trevor, where is Cavalcante tonight?
So Cavalcante is once again behind bars, Lindsay, facing life in prison, but this time he is in a maximum security facility. Of course, officials have not forgotten about Chester County Prison where he escaped. The governor says they have a lot of cleaning up to do. Of course, in Pennsylvania, while there are required inspections at prisons, those inspections don't require they check out for any possible breakouts. Lindsay?
Trevor Alt, our thanks to you reporting on this from the very beginning. A federal judge has blocked part of a recent public health order from New Mexico's governor that suspended the right to openly carry guns. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham imposed the emergency order last week in response to a spate of deadly shootings that killed children, including an 11-year-old boy. Following several lawsuits, the judge said that the order violates constitutional rights and granted a temporary restraining order on the gun ban until the October 3rd court hearing. Next tonight, to the flood watch for parts of the Northeast already reeling from all that heavy rain. And now a new storm is moving through the I-95 corridor. There's also the looming effects of Hurricane Lee to contend with. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano has the latest timing and the track. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Lindsay. Yeah, we had even more rain today across parts of central and eastern Massachusetts. Here in Leominster, you can see the sinkhole behind me, the damage done. This is just massive, tearing through this road. And this home, the people that live here, they were rescued during the height of the flash flood. It's completely undercut their foundation there. That porch is down into the river, and sadly, that home is condemned. And you're right, we still have watches and warnings that are mostly to our south at this point. A line of storm stretches from about Boston into Providence, where they had a couple of tornado warnings earlier. This line, thankfully, will push off, and that should be the end of it until Hurricane Lee. Tropical storm watches and hurricane watches have just been posted for the coast of New England, as this storm is now 950 miles away from Nantucket. That red line indicates all the coastal impacts that everybody's going to have to deal with on the East Coast into the weekend. And you see the storm is forecast to weaken as it gets into cooler waters, but the wind field will expand. Right now it's massive. We got a 200-mile diameter hurricane-force wind field. Watch the orange on this. That's tropical storm force. That actually expands as it gets up into parts of New England. It'll be abreast of Cape Cod Saturday morning, and that's when we start to see some damaging winds potentially along the coast there, and then pushing up into maybe Bar Harbor or down East Maine. Landfall sometime Saturday night, either Maine, Nova Scotia, or New Brunswick. And with those damaging winds, a surge that could be potentially devastating in some spots, especially in the Bay areas there. And it could come in as strong as a Category 1 hurricane, or at least a post-tropical storm of that sort of strength. So this is something to contend with, and all eyes are on it here from New England. Lindsay?
We know you'll be monitoring it for us. Rob, thank you. Now to the staggering death toll from the flooding in Libya. At least 6,000 people are dead and thousands of homes washed into the sea. The satellite image on the left, you see it there, that shows a grid of homes and roads before the storm. And today on the right, the roads and nearly all of the homes are gone, just mud left in their place. Here's ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge.
Tonight, the death toll rising in Libya. At least 6,000 killed after a powerful storm caused 2 dams to break, unleashing catastrophic flooding. In the coastal city of Derna, rescuers navigating through dense mud and tangled debris, retrieving bodies. 9,000 people still missing. The violent force of the water washing away entire neighbourhoods. Bodies swept out to sea, buildings reduced to rubble. Tossing car after car, some piled on top of each other. This car ending up on a roof. Crews finding a young boy's body in the rubble as his father looks on, overcome with grief. This medical worker brought to tears in the middle of an interview as officials fear the number of dead could double.
And they certainly could do without any more complications. Tom, how is the U.S. government handling the situation on the ground in Libya?
Yeah, Lindsay, USAID has deployed a disaster response team into Libya to coordinate American efforts to help people on the ground. The U.S. also providing $1 million worth of humanitarian assistance for those most in need.
And you're currently in Morocco, which is the site of course, another catastrophic natural disaster, talking about an earthquake there. What new information has been released by authorities there?
Yeah, officials here in Morocco, Lindsay, now say nearly 3,000 people have been killed. That relief effort in remote mountainous areas continuing, with another aftershock reported today. Lindsay?
Tom Sufi-Burridge in Morocco for us. Thanks so much, Tom. Children are bearing the brunt of both of these disasters. UNICEF estimates 100,000 children are affected by the earthquake, and 664,000 total people in Libya are affected by the floods. And that number, of course, includes so many children there as well. Joining us now for more is UNICEF spokesperson Ricardo Perez. Thank you so much for joining us. What's the biggest challenge that you see that UNICEF is facing to respond to both of these disasters?
Thanks for having me. At this point, the main challenge we have is really access. As you can imagine, with these natural disasters, both the earthquake and the storm and consequential floods in Libya, roadblocks have become the norm. Buildings have collapsed. Health facilities are unreachable for those in need, and we're working around the clock to make sure we can break these barriers and reach the vulnerable communities and the children in need. But right now, access remains the main issue.
We're looking at the images, and they just are astounding. Why isn't, in Morocco in particular, the government, they're accepting UNICEF and other emergency aid organizations' offers to help?
Well, Morocco is a sovereign country, and it's prerogative to decide how best to respond to such a humanitarian crisis. UNICEF is on standby, is ready from the onset to step in and support, but since then, we haven't been asked to do so. So we're on standby. We have pre-positioned supplies. We have the expertise. We have deployed staff to the country to support our country office, which obviously is stressed. We have colleagues whose homes have been damaged and whose family members have been affected, and we're ready to support. It's just a matter of the government of Morocco asking for that help.
You talked about the difficulty in accessing some of these places, but what are the most pressing needs on the ground once you are able to get that aid in?
Oh, right now, children are stranded in both countries in areas that have been impacted by these natural disasters. So with health systems collapsing, hospitals becoming unreachable or flooded or destroyed, we are lacking health supplies. We're lacking essential medicines for children. Many are not able to access the health care that they need. Children have lost their homes, or their homes have been flooded. They have been separated from their loved ones, from their parents, or if they haven't been separated, they can't go back home because they're scared of aftershocks, for example, in Morocco, or their homes are simply unlivable. So the challenges remain, as usual with such natural disasters, the most basic services for children, in many cases life-saving services, which again UNICEF is ready to deploy and support, and we're working around the clock to do so.
UNICEF assists in more than 300 emergencies a year. What happens to these children after the news coverage stops and we get to be weeks, if not months, after these disasters? How long do you all stay on the ground to help?
It can be a long way to recovery. If you take Libya as an example, communities there have been slowly recovering from decades of conflict, and just as they were looking ahead and seeing a more hopeful future, and being able to restart, this disaster happens, and they're kind of set back into a situation of calamity. And there is no rule of thumb. It depends on the disaster. It depends on the country. It depends on how badly it's hit. But in these two cases, we're looking at a very, very serious situation that could endure more than weeks for sure.
Ricardo Pires, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us tonight. About 146,000 auto workers are prepared for the first time in history to strike at 3 major auto companies simultaneously if their demands are not met by General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis. The union is threatening a walkout in just one day if they do not reach an agreement on higher wages and other benefits. So what could it mean for the companies and the overall American economy? ABC's Terry Moran reports in from Detroit.
Tonight, the clock is ticking down to a deadline of midnight tomorrow for a threatened strike by nearly 150,000 auto workers.
Who are we?
For rank and file members, a moment of truth.
How do you feel at this moment? The deadline just a few hours away, really.
Anxious, hopefully.
If no deal is reached, it would mark the first time in history that union workers walk out on all of the big 3 American automakers. The UAW wants a 40% wage increase over the next 4 years, arguing that's how much the CEOs have gotten since the last contract.
I don't mind them making all that money. That's great. But don't take away from me to pad your own pocket.
Other union demands, a return to pension plans, which were eliminated for new hires during the financial crisis, plus retiree health care and a 4-day work week, a demand Ford's CEO says is unrealistic.
We'll see. I mean, a 4-day work week is not containable.
As for worries that a major auto strike could hurt the U.S. economy, UAW President Shawn Fain had this to say just moments ago.
It's not the economy that'll wreck. It's their economy. It's the billionaire economy. That's what they're worried about.
Of course, the implications of a strike would be far-reaching. Terry Moran joins us now from Detroit. Terry, what's the current state of play on the talks now? Is there any sense that this can be resolved before a potential strike?
Lindsay, that's a long shot. They are talking, both sides saying that progress has been made, but they remain far apart. The companies have offered somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% raises for workers, but there are a lot more issues, those pension benefits, the 2-tiered system of new hires and retiree medical benefits. There's still a long way on pay and on benefits. And really, I think the workers are ready for a strike. They are looking to change the terms of debate between themselves and management, not just here in the auto industry, but across the country as well. One worker telling me that the UAW has always set the standard for working people in this country, and they're looking to raise that standard. With the UAW President Shawn Fain telling them tonight to win, it is likely we're going to have to take action. Lindsay?
Just about 24 hours left. Terry Moran, our thanks to you. The titans of American tech, including Tesla's Elon Musk and Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, walked into a closed-door meeting with lawmakers at Capitol Hill today. On the agenda, how to regulate artificial intelligence. Lawmakers have been struggling on how to respond to the dangers of this rapidly changing technology since the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT. Musk and some AI executives have already called for a 6-month pause in developing more powerful AI, warning of potential risks to society. And for more now, let's bring in Jay O'Brien, who was on Capitol Hill all day chasing down these tech titans. Hey, Jay.
Yeah, not every tech titan told us exactly what they told those lawmakers behind closed doors. Inside that room, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, CEOs of OpenAI like Sam Altman and others. But Elon Musk, who was also inside that room, did tell us a stark warning that he delivered to lawmakers. Here's what he said.
Think of the future as a series of probabilities as opposed to certainties. There is some chance that above zero that AI will kill us all. I think it's low, but there's some chance.
Musk also saying that he did feel that there was agreement between some of those CEOs and the lawmakers inside about potential future regulations for AI, like a federal agency like the FCC, but for artificial intelligence. Not everyone is in agreement that there was agreement. Ed Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, walked out of that room and told me he felt there was no consensus behind those closed doors. I asked him if there was a timetable for potential future AI legislation. He said he didn't think there was one, but this is a priority of the top Democrat in the Senate who controls that chamber, Chuck Schumer. He says, Lindsay, that this is the biggest problem facing the next generation, and he is promising to bring AI legislation forward. The question becomes, is Congress focused enough on this issue to do that?
Seems like a really hot button issue. Jay, reporting from the Capitol. Thanks so much. We turn now to that high-stakes meeting between Vladimir Putin and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, meeting face-to-face at a high-tech space facility. Russian state media says Putin plans to help North Korea build satellites while Russia is looking for help with the war in Ukraine, which Kim says he'll back in what he called a sacred struggle against the West. Here's ABC's Britt Clennett in Ukraine.
Tonight, a lengthy handshake and smiles as Vladimir Putin hosted North Korea's Kim Jong-un at a spaceport in Russia's Far East. Putin choosing this site for the meeting, according to Russian state media, because he plans to help Kim build satellites. North Korea is also looking to Russia for advanced technology for missile and submarine programs. In return, Putin could be getting access to vast stockpiles of North Korean munition to resupply his forces in Ukraine. Their talks today lasting about 2 hours. Kim vowing full support for Putin's war, calling it part of a sacred struggle against the West. But the war growing more costly for Russia. Overnight, Ukraine launching one of the biggest ever naval attacks on Russia, seen in videos circulating online, striking the Crimean port of Sevastopol, damaging 2 vessels.
Our thanks to Britt for that. A luxury cruise ship with 206 passengers, including Americans on board, has run aground in Greenland, in one of the most remote places on Earth. Several attempts to dislodge it at high tide have failed, and the closest rescue boat is still nearly 2 days away. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has the details.
Tonight, 206 passengers, including several Americans, are stranded. Their luxury cruise ship run aground in remote northeast Greenland. It was a trip of a lifetime, a 22-day expedition through the Arctic Circle, costing upwards of $20,000 per person. The Ocean Explorer, departing from Norway September 1st, traveling through fjords when it became stuck in sand and mud on Monday. Inspections show the hull is intact. No injuries reported. Now passengers and crew sit anxiously waiting for this Danish naval vessel to arrive. Today, a fishing vessel unable to free the ship at high tide. According to a passenger interviewed by Australian media, the crew has lowered the lifeboats, the anchor, and emptied water to try to lighten its load. Tonight, Aurora Expeditions, the Australian-based company that operates the ship, saying the passengers and crew are safe, and there is, quote, no immediate danger to themselves, the vessel, or the surrounding environment.
Our thanks to Stephanie Ramos. Still ahead, coming up, could these images be proof of life existing beyond Earth? What one researcher is saying about these alleged non-human remains. But next in our prime focus, building a drone army, providing support from the battlefield to gathering intelligence. Ian Pannell gives a rare look at what Russia is up against with the growing help of drones.
This kind of warfare isn't just highly technical, it's also highly dangerous. Because for the Russians, this guy is a high-value target.
Whenever news breaks,
the crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
In Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight.
We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Can I hug you?
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show. Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Rachel Scott. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. It is a war with no clear end in sight, but if there is any potential resolution, it would come on the heels of a 21st century innovation that looks like it'll be the future of battle. They're carrying out attacks in Moscow, the Black Sea, and on the battlefield while gathering reconnaissance and doing some real damage. In tonight's Prime Focus, Ian Pannell gives us a rare look at Ukraine's expanding drone operations and the men and women taking the fight to Russia in what's being considered the first ever drone war.
It may not look like a battlefield, and they certainly don't look like natural-born killers. But the army of the future might just lie here. A new generation of drone operators will be more brain than brawn. Like musicians, they'll need nimble fingers, lightning-fast reactions, excellent concentration, and rapid thinking. Musicians and gamers, the call of duty is sounding. Meet Ukraine's new drone warriors. ABC News has been given rare access to this secretive program. From November last year through May, Ukraine trained 10,000 drone pilots. Another 10,000 are being trained right now.
This kind of warfare isn't just highly technical, it's also highly dangerous. The drone pilots, as they're known, can't be identified. We can't even tell you where we are, because for the Russians, this guy is a high-value target. And if they know who he is and where he is, they'll try to kill him.
Справа в тому, що я хочу всіма можливими наявними нині засобами нищити ворога для того, щоб, власне, здобути перемогу. Тому що нині зараз українська армія має багато підтримки від західних партнерів, але
Ми маємо розвивати також свої напрямки, і наразі в Україні є найбільшим не впливовим, а найбільш приміняються саме такі технології, які не приміняються, або, верніше, ще ніде не примінялися в жодних конфліктах.
Ukraine's building an army of drones, and they're already indispensable on the battlefield. Some spy on Russian positions, identifying targets that are then hit by artillery and mortar fire. Others are attack drones, dropping ordnance or exploding on impact, killing Russian soldiers hiding in trenches, blowing up tanks on the front lines, striking artillery pieces hidden in tree lines, hitting stockpiles of munitions and key supply lines. We travelled with the drone units on a mission in eastern Ukraine. The Leleka, or Stork, is one of dozens of homegrown UAVs. It can fly hundreds of miles, relaying live pictures, and with an electric motor, it's much quieter and so harder to spot.
They help to coordinate all of the artillery fire and all of the reconnaissance actions, and basically this is some kind of a future of war.
This is the riskiest part of the operation because as soon as they break cover, they can be spotted and targeted by Russian drones or artillery.
Drone warfare has now become very real. As you can see, they're about to launch one. This is for surveillance and reconnaissance.
2, 1, go!
Today's mission, fly over Russian-occupied territory to Bakhmut, scene of the longest and bloodiest battle of this war. The images are haunting, a rare glimpse of one of the most heavily fought-over cities, now shattered and shot. Ukraine may be getting billions in military aid, but it's not just relying on handouts. 1 year ago, there were only 7 manufacturers making drones in Ukraine. Today, there are at least 80. Across the country, factories and workshops are springing up, manufacturing, forging, even 3D printing drones. Dmytro Kovalchuk embodies the entrepreneurial spirit driving this quiet revolution. In 1 year, he's gone from making just 3 drones a month to 150 today.
В Україні держава не виготовляє жодного дрона. Всі дрони, які виготовляються, всі абсолютно виготовляються підприємцями.
Faced with an enemy with far greater firepower and resources, the cost-benefit of drones is obvious.
100% саме так і буде. Тому що сьогодні дрон, який коштує $1000, може знищити танк, який коштує $500,000. І да, будуть зміни. І да, точно це буде або війна дронів, або армії дронів.
Skyton is one of the most advanced UAV manufacturers. Its Raybird reconnaissance drone costs over $1 million and can fly for more than 30 hours at an altitude of over 16,000 feet, relaying real-time, high-quality images of enemy positions deep into Russian territory. Alexander Stopora, the founder and chairman of Skyton, says UAVs need to be able to prioritize and identify targets.
For us, tanks are not objects for recognition and for impaction. Right. For us, it's a warfare system, it's an artillery system, air defense system from the other side. So this is the object we'd like to recognize and to destroy.
So this should think for itself?
Absolutely.
The UAV already has basic AI, or artificial intelligence, built in, but developers are looking at a new generation that could totally transform warfare.
Era of manned aircraft in terms of Air Force completely ended.
Ended with this war?
Ended with this war. This war showed that to have the person inside of the flying board, no reason to do that, no sense. The pilot doesn't have time to think, never. It's just milliseconds, and any machine will do that better than people.
And faster.
Yeah, and faster, and more accurately.
This new army of drones is now taking the war to the heart of Russia, in Moscow, showing Putin and Russians that the homeland is no longer immune from this war, and that Ukraine has new, longer-range drone capability, ABC News has obtained this image of the drone used in these latest Moscow attacks. It's a Bobber long-range UAV. A drone developer with intimate knowledge of this top-secret program agreed to talk to us anonymously.
The psychological impact of being able to strike in places like Moscow or in Russian territorial waters is far greater than the power of the drone itself.
It's very important for us. We show them that two can play this game. It's very important to make Russians know that we also have weapons. We also can attack them.
And is it reasonable to expect not just that the capability of drones is going to increase, but the number of attacks inside Russia is also likely to increase?
Yes, the more drones that are produced, the more attacks will be provided. My understanding of what the goals are is to have capability to strike all strategic aviation airfields, to push back strategic aviation capable of launching missiles.
And it's not just airfields and aviation, but warships at sea too. A new generation of maritime drones burst onto the scene with two dramatic attacks. Firstly, a Russian warship was struck inside its own territorial waters with a drone carrying almost 1,000 pounds of explosives. Then the following day, a strike on an oil tanker supplying Russian troops. Ukraine not admitting it carried out these particular strikes, but ABC News has been given rare access to part of its top-secret drone program that intelligence officials now admit is being used to target Russia in the Black Sea.
What you're looking at now is the latest weapon in Ukraine's armory, an unmanned sea drone capable of being packed with explosives and rammed into Russian ships. And this has had an enormous effect, not just physically, but psychologically, taking the war to Russia in the Black Sea.
The Magora sea drone was only developed late last year, and yet already it's been deployed multiple times. It sits low in the water, making it hard to detect and intercept. Military intelligence releasing videos of recent strikes against Russian ships.
What is the range on this drone?
As of now, it's about 800 kilometers. This information is available from open sources. The range, the payload, the length of the drone, and so on.
That would suggest that no Russian ship is safe anymore in the Black Sea.
That's exactly what our work is about.
Ukraine's shown the world not just that it can stand up to a far more powerful military, but that new drone technology can potentially revolutionize the way war is fought. Drones have made huge differences on the battlefield here. But for all the high-tech talk, this is still a very old-school war, with men, not machines, in the trenches and the fields of Ukraine, fighting and dying every single day.
All the loss of life, one aspect that has not changed with time. Our thanks to Ian Pannell for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, more than 70 windows are shattered on subway cars in a vandalism spree. Why officials may not be able to fix all that damage. But next, many CEOs have been sounding the alarm about the impact of retail theft on company profits. But is the problem as bad as they're claiming? We take a look by the numbers.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crushing of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
To me. It was the ideal marriage. Little did I know I was married to a man who had done something so horrible that it would devastate our lives forever.
Teacher of the Year is now charged with sex crimes.
Only on Hulu.
He was living a double life.
The shocking story behind a #1 true crime podcast.
Prostitutes, escorts. He even cheated on me the week of our wedding.
Betrayal, the perfect husband.
He had a lot of fantasies.
Now streaming only on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. It was a repeated refrain on earnings calls in recent weeks, with CEOs talking about a hit to company profits from retail theft. But just how bad of a problem is it? We take a look by the numbers. CNBC reports that nearly 24 retailers said that lost inventory weighed on profits during second quarter earnings reports in the past month, blaming something called inventory shrink, or the loss of items to retail theft, organized crime, or damage or vendor fraud. The National Retail Federation says that the issue caused nearly $100 billion in losses for retailers in 2021. The last full year data was available. That was up from $45.2 billion in 2015. High-profile smash and grabs have also made headlines, like when $300,000 in merchandise was stolen from a California Nordstrom's this summer. Target lost about $220 million to lost merchandise last quarter, with the company blaming a, quote, unacceptable amount of retail theft and organized retail crime. Dick's Sporting Goods also says that they took a hit, losing about $27 million to lost inventory last quarter. It was the first time that Dick's mentioned theft as a drag on profits in 2 decades, according to CNBC. And securities filings for Lowe's show that the company lost nearly $1 billion to lost inventory in the last fiscal year. That's up from $796 million in 2021. But a detailed analysis from CNBC found a mixed picture on just how much theft is impacting retailers, with other factors like weather-related damages causing lost inventory for stores like Lowe's. And CNBC notes that inventory losses for most companies are still between the industry standard of 1 to 1.5% of sales, making up a small fraction of retailers' profits. That's leading some critics to call out companies for blaming theft for lower profits, saying that it may be distracting from issues like poor inventory management or just outright poor sales. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. A possible ban on what can be in certain foods, the bill that could create a lot of change in California. And artificial intelligence can create art and write books, but what about a new Coca-Cola formula? What the company is saying about its new AI-generated flavor.
What does it take to be America's #1 news? It takes asking the straightforward, tough questions.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Are you worried about going to jail?
You write that you had low-grade depression. How'd you get out of that?
The newsmaking interviews.
You said that there were 6 friends. One of them was sick.
Yeah.
Do you have future political aspirations?
Going to the front line.
They'll search for survivors. How does this war end?
And getting to the heart of the story.
Thank you for being here. We'll be here for the long run.
ABC News, #1 in the morning, the #1 newscast, #1 in daytime talk, Friday nights, Sunday mornings versus the competition, and the #1 streaming news. Thank you for making ABC News America's trusted, straightforward first choice.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on. Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
We're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Getting you behind the stories as they happen.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Streaming free on ABC News Live.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
The possible new ban that would impact what Californians can eat. A vandalism spree creates a rare scenario on New York City's subways, and the photo a researcher is calling proof of alien life. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown.
Senator Mitt Romney announcing he will not seek re-election in 2024. One-term senator saying he was making way for a new generation of politicians, pointing out he'd turn 80 years old in office if he won his second term as senator of Utah. Romney was a vocal critic of former President Trump and the first senator in history to vote to remove a president from office from the president's same political party. Romney previously served as governor of Massachusetts and ran for president in 2012.
The California state legislature passed a bill that would ban several additives found in popular snacks such as Skittles. The bill, called the California Food Safety Act, would ban the manufacturing or sale of certain processed oils and food colorings used in some baked goods, candies, and sodas. If signed, the law will go into effect in early 2027. Lawmakers say the bill is not intended to ban certain foods, but to encourage companies to change their recipes.
MTA officials say at least 78 windows were broken on 38 trains. Those trains have been taken out of service for repairs. New York City Transit president says the damage requires more glass than the MTA keeps on hand, so getting supplies could be an issue. He says the cost to fix everything could be in the 6 figures. Police now examining video from the subway system to track down the people who committed the act of vandalism.
U.S. Census Bureau says for the first time in 13 years, the poverty rate in the U.S. has gone up. 12.4% of the country now considered living in poverty. That is nearly 3 times higher than the 4.6% just 2 years ago. Census points to the expiration of pandemic-era assistance programs that kept many out of poverty during COVID. Poverty rate among children also doubled in 2022 to 12.4%. The child tax credit expansion ended in December of 2021. That had provided parents about $250 a month per child.
Mexican lawmakers were presented with an unbelievable artifact at a congressional hearing examining UFOs. A researcher and journalist presented what he claimed were 2 bodies, alleged to be non-human corpses. The mummified beings looked like something out of an old science fiction movie, with elongated heads and only 3 fingers. The remains were allegedly discovered in Peru in 2017, and the researcher claims they are about 1,000 to 2,000 years old.
Can a computer make a good soda? Coca-Cola is about to find out as it launches the world's first soft drink created by artificial intelligence. The beverage giant announcing Coca-Cola Y3000. It's only available for a limited time. The company says it tastes mostly like a regular Coke, but with an extra flavor created with the help of artificial intelligence. Machine learning even helped design the packaging. The company says it expects this Coke will taste like the future.
The rise of bridesmaid burnout. Yes, it really is a thing. There's growing backlash against the costs and responsibilities of becoming a bridesmaid, which can cost well over $1,000 per wedding on average. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has the details.
While the bride is the star, her squad increasingly finding themselves also footing a big bill.
Ladies, I just don't think we can do any better. This is beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
This is $800.
Weddings are a $70+ billion industry, and for bridesmaids, the costs add up quick and are causing some to burn out.
For our bachelorette, we went to NOLA, and that came out to $1,536.
A 2017 Wedding Wire report found being a bridesmaid can cost an average $1,200 to $1,800. But for 28-year-old Shannon Detrick, who's been in 3 weddings this year, she says that average doesn't even come close.
I've collectively spent just under $10,000. Some of the breakdown of that cost is bachelorette parties, room and board, travel fees, transportation, bridesmaids dresses, hair and makeup.
Experts say more couples are celebrating in a way they couldn't during the pandemic, and the wedding boom isn't going to let up anytime soon. So if you're feeling the pinch,
learn from the things that you've done early on to try and make sure that you are in a good place, both financially and mentally.
Set a personal budget. Be upfront about your situation and consider doing a group gift that gives the newlyweds something super special from their registry, or skip one of the events like a shower or bachelor party. If all else fails, there are ways to politely decline an invitation.
It doesn't have to be a big explanation. You can just say, this doesn't fit my budget or my circumstances at this time. Send a lovely card, but you don't have to attend every wedding.
Otherwise, it can add up. Our thanks to Eva for that. Many of us, I know I personally have a sweet tooth. We can all appreciate a good dessert from time to time, at least, right? But some bakers are taking it to another level entirely, turning the sweet treats into real works of art. And millions of viewers are hooked, spending billions of minutes watching them make the sometimes wild creations. ABC's Ashin Singh has this.
One of these potatoes is actually a cake. Can you guess which one? Is it this one? Is it this one? How about this one? Or maybe this one? Right? Is it any of them? Does any of this make sense? Why would a potato be a cake? Let's step back for a minute. No matter how you slice it, baking is having a moment.
What do you guys think of this cake trend? Love it or hate it?
Whether it's on social media, TikTok, YouTube, or on TV.
Texture of your flapjack
is
on the top. It looks a bit wet.
Oh, yeah, that's because it's not baked yet.
I mean, who here hasn't binged the Great British Baking Show on Netflix?
This is meant to be encouraging people at home to get involved in bake for charity. It's the worst experience of my life.
Wherever you get your sugary fix, one thing is clear. All these videos of people stacking, icing, and crafting cakes are here to stay. What do you think it is societally about baking that we love so much? I mean, it is just a cake at the end of the day, right?
I think it's just the part that, hey, I can kind of do this too. It's an inspiration to people at home that are just like, hey, I want a little hobby. I think I can do this too.
A little hobby doing big numbers with billions of video views online. It's transforming ordinary people into culinary superstars, like Michigan mom and former school teacher Miravat Osali, whose channel, Bake My Day Mimo, has millions of followers and hundreds of millions of views. At what point did you realize that this is bigger than just running your own small business?
It wasn't until TikTok, to be honest. And just all of us under COVID, everything in lockdown, that it really started to explode. And I was like, there's no way all these people are this interested in watching cake decoration or even the cake process or whatever it is. That's when I knew, wow, this is great. Let me just keep going.
But of all the mind-blowing, mouth-watering cakes out there, the craziest cake trend has got to be hyper-realistic cakes. Now, I could just tell you what it's all about, but I'd rather show you. Let's take a field trip. So we're in Austin, Texas right now, and it's known for its famed Texas barbecue. Brisket, pulled pork, you name it. But today we're here for something a little different. A little sweeter, a little weirder. So real, it'll have you doing double takes. As far as baking goes, there are cake artists, and then there are cake artists. There's no doubt that Natalie Sidesurf is the cream of the crop.
Today I'm going to make a cake of a popular cake trend from the past.
Natalie is the queen of the hyper-realistic cake. That right there is a cake, and that right there does not look like a cake. Which came first for you, the baking or the art?
The art came first. I've been making art since I was a kid, and I studied it. I actually studied hyper-realistic art in college and a little bit in high school. So I've been interested in hyper-realistic art for a really long time. The baking came later. Making the dishes dirty is totally a Sidesurf cake detail.
So since I had the background in art to make realistic art, I just found a way to like use edible materials in cake and make it hyper-realistic too. But I also noticed when I started making the cakes and the more realistic they were, the attention that they were getting.
It's really hard not to look at this and wonder, is that snake really a snake? Or is it a cake? Whatever it is, in just the last few years, Natalie has made cake out of everything, from basic everyday essentials to the truly insane. You must be getting those reactions all the time. Does it get old?
No, it's my favorite. I get to like prank people.
And today, we're gonna look to turn something, anything, into a cake. So now, when you're at the grocery store, are you like constantly racking your brain of what could be a cake?
Yes. So my husband Dave does all the grocery shopping, and I sit there and I just stare at items, and I'm like, could this be a cake? Could this be a cake?
You think you can make a cake out of a sweet potato?
Absolutely, I can definitely do that.
Wanna give it a shot? So Nelly, do you like eating cake? Or is this just a canvas for you?
It is a canvas, but I also eat a lot of cake. So I'm just carving out the edges, but you did the basic shape of it. I like stuff like this because, like, sometimes when I make a cake, you know, if I'm making a bowl, it has to be perfect.
Right.
Like, the size has to be absolutely perfect. But with a potato, I can kind of have fun with it and make it up as I go.
You kind of forget that this is a cake at a certain point, and it kind of feels like you're just like working on a sculpture, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Almost like magic, before my eyes, the cake really starts to turn into a potato.
There's just certain areas that I want to color match a little better.
But to get the full effect, my producer brought out some real potatoes to try and trick me.
Now you're looking at them. Now you have to pick one potato, and that one has to be the cake. Otherwise, you lose the game. So dramatic.
Oh my God. I'm gonna get this wrong. Oh my gosh. All right, I think I know which one I'm gonna pick.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be, no, because it wasn't that light brown. It wasn't, or was it? Because the new ones were, okay, all right, man. All right, let's try this one.
Here, I'll pour it, right?
Okay, cool. You gonna Vanna White it for me? Yep, that's the one I want.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Are you sure that's the one that you choose?
Yes.
Feel good about it?
I don't feel good, but moment of truth. We got to see if my potato is actually a cake or if it's a potato. And that is not a cake. That is not a cake. I got it real wrong. So I'm feeling like a dummy. But now we're going to actually cut into this, right? I've waited all weekend for this, just so you know.
Well, now the pressure's on.
You got to, yeah, this is a cake. I'm so excited. This is the thing. Oh, my God. What is it about cake and baking, I guess?
I think that, like, throughout history, cake is this way to, like, celebrate. You're celebrating graduations or weddings or birthdays. So that, to me, is, like, great. Like, I love that I get to work with something that's has a history of being, like, celebratory.
Mm-hmm. You cool if I take a bite? You cool if we actually eat some of this cake?
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Let's have some.
Awesome. I have the best tasting sweet potato I've ever had.
I agree.
I don't know if I'm craving a sweet potato or cake. Our thanks to Ashin for that. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Getting you behind the stories as they happen.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Streaming free on ABC News Live. From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
It was the ideal marriage. Little did I know I was married to a man who had done something so horrible that it would devastate our lives forever.
Teacher of the Year is now charged with sex crimes.
Only on Hulu.
He was living a double life.
The shocking story behind a #1 true crime podcast.
Prostitutes, escorts. He even cheated on me the week of our wedding.
Betrayal, the perfect husband.
He had a lot of fantasies.
Now streaming only on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Reporting from Jerusalem, I'm James Longman. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We've got a lot of news to get to this evening, including a killer captured at last after 2 weeks on the run following a brazen escape from prison. Authorities detained a convicted murderer who eluded them for days. Plus, millions watched her grow up on hit reality shows, and now Jill Duggar-Dillard has written a new memoir. What she's saying happened behind the scenes. And doctors rushed to perform emergency surgery on a toddler who swallowed 8 needles. How the 2-year-old may have found them. But we do begin with a dramatic end to the manhunt for that escaped convict who had eluded authorities for 14 days and kept thousands of people in communities west of Philadelphia on edge. Danilo Cavalcante was taken into custody just after 8 o'clock this morning, surrounded and surprised by a tactical team, and ultimately taken down by a police dog named Yoda. Tonight, Danilo Cavalcante is behind bars at a state prison serving the life sentence he was handed for the brutal murder of his former girlfriend in front of her small children. ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off once again in Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Tonight, escape killer Danilo Cavalcante finally captured in the woods of Pennsylvania. Officers in tactical gear loading him into an armored van 30 miles north of the prison he escaped nearly 2 weeks ago.
Our nightmare is finally over and the good guys won.
Authorities say officers cornered Cavalcante in South Coventry Township. A DEA plane with thermal imaging detecting heat signals around 1 a.m. about an hour after a home burglary alarm was triggered nearby.
Heat signature on the north side of the wood line, going into the woods.
Tactical units quickly converging on that area, a lightning storm then forcing that DEA plane to leave.
Use caution, they're trying to push the heat signature towards ships.
Law enforcement forming a tight perimeter until sunrise.
And shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise.
Cavalcante lying prone in some underbrush, armed with that stolen loaded rifle, unaware they'd found him until he was surrounded.
That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went.
Customs and Border Patrol teams then releasing a canine, stopping the inmate from fleeing as officers followed behind. Cavalcante, ever defiant, resisting until he was forcefully captured.
Subject is in custody, confirmed subject is in custody. You said the subject is in custody. Yes!
Cavalcante wearing that stolen Philadelphia Eagles shirt and work boots, a trail of blood down his face as he's taken away.
EMS has kind of worked on him in the parking lot and they loaded him up.
That .22 caliber rifle stolen from a garage also recovered. Officials say Cavalcante never made it out of Chester County and he was desperate for help.
You do believe people were intent in trying to help him, including his sister, but they weren't able to?
We believe they were intent. We believe there were some efforts made. We'll have to discuss whether we believe any of those rise to the level of criminal prosecution.
Cavalcante was serving a life sentence for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brandow. Her sister today posting, "We are deeply grateful for the support and hard work put in by law enforcement. These past 2 weeks have been extremely painful and terrifying."
It's quiet again. It's serene. Everyone can just exhale finally.
Tonight, this community, having endured 13 intense days with a murderer on the loose, finally breathing a sigh of relief.
We will be able to go back to feeling secure and safe and letting our kids play on the streets and ride their bikes and not be worried about them anymore.
Our thanks to Trevor. A federal judge has blocked part of a recent public health order from New Mexico's governor that suspended the right to openly carry guns. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham imposed the emergency order last week in response to a spate of deadly shootings that killed children, including an 11-year-old boy. Following several lawsuits, the judge said the order violates constitutional rights and granted a temporary restraining order on the gun battle until the October 3rd court hearing. Next tonight, to the flood watch for parts of the Northeast already reeling from all that heavy rain. And now a new storm is moving through the I-95 corridor. There's also the looming effects of Hurricane Lee to contend with. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano has the latest timing and the track. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Lindsay. Yeah, we had even more rain today across parts of central and eastern Massachusetts. Here in Leominster, you can see the sinkhole behind me, the damage done. This is just massive, tearing through this road. And this home, the people that live here, they were rescued during the height of the flash flood. It's completely undercut their foundation there. That porch is down into the river, and sadly, that home is condemned. And you're right, we still have watches and warnings that are mostly to our south at this point. The line of storm stretches from about Boston into Providence, where they had a couple of tornado warnings earlier. This line, thankfully, will push off, and that should be the end of it until Hurricane Lee. Tropical storm watches and hurricane watches have just been posted for the coast of New England, as this storm is now 950 miles away from Nantucket. That red line indicates all the coastal impacts that everybody's going to have to deal with on the East Coast into the weekend. And you see the storm is forecast to weaken as it gets into cooler waters, but the wind field will expand. Right now it's massive. We got a 200-mile diameter hurricane-force wind field. Watch the orange on this. That's tropical storm force. That actually expands as it gets up into parts of New England. It'll be abreast of Cape Cod Saturday morning, and that's when we start to see some damaging winds potentially along the coast there, and then pushing up into maybe Bar Harbor or down East Maine. Landfall sometime Saturday night, either Maine Nova Scotia or New Brunswick. And with those damaging winds, a surge that could be potentially devastating in some spots, especially in the Bay areas there. And it could come in as strong as a Category 1 hurricane, or at least a post-tropical storm of that sort of strength. So this is something to contend with, and all eyes are on it here from New England. Lindsay?
We know you'll be monitoring it for us. Rob, thank you. Now to the staggering toll from flooding in Libya. At least 6,000 people are dead and thousands of homes washed into the sea. Take a look here. The satellite image on the left shows a grid of homes and roads before the storm. And today on the right, the roads and nearly all of those homes gone. Mud left in their place. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burge has this report.
Tonight, the death toll rising in Libya. At least 6,000 killed after a powerful storm caused 2 dams to break, unleashing catastrophic flooding. In the coastal city of Derna, rescuers navigating through dense mud and tangled debris, retrieving bodies. 9,000 people still missing. The violent force of the water washing away entire neighbourhoods. Bodies swept out to sea, buildings reduced to rubble. Tossing car after car, some piled on top of each other. This car ending up on a roof. Crews finding a young boy's body in the rubble as his father looks on, overcome with grief. This medical worker brought to tears in the middle of an interview as officials fear the number of dead could double.
Our thanks to Tom for that. The husband of Congresswoman Mary Peltola has died in an airplane crash in Alaska. The plane that Eugene Peltola Jr. was flying went down under unknown circumstances about 440 miles west of Anchorage last night over remote mountainous terrain. He was the only person on board. The National Transportation Safety Board has launched an investigation. The Congresswoman and her husband share 7 children. Back in Washington, Utah Senator Mitt Romney announced today that he will not seek re-election next year, with Romney saying it's time for the next generation to step up. ABC's Rachel Scott was there and pressed him on the former president's hold on the Republican Party. Let's take a listen.
I just don't think that we need another person in their 80s. I'm a little long of tooth already. We don't need more like me. The issues of the day relate to China, climate change, AI. But I do think that the times we're living in really demand the next generation to step up and express their point of view.
I wonder if you can speak to where the Republican Party is now. When you look at the Republican Party, particularly where the House of Representatives is, do you feel like this is a Republican Party that is beholden to former President Donald Trump?
Well, there's no question but that the Republican Party today is in the shadow of Donald Trump. He is the leader of the greatest portion of the Republican Party. It's a populist, I believe, demagogue portion of the party. Look, I represent a small wing of the party, if you will. I call it the wise wing of the Republican Party. And I don't believe we're going away. I think ultimately we'll see a resurgence and come back into leadership of the party. Look, my wing of the party talks about policy and about issues that will make a difference to the lives of the American people. The Trump wing of the party talks about resentments of various kind and getting even and settling scores and revisiting the 2020 election. What are the policies for the future? And my party is only going to be successful getting young people to vote for us if we're talking about the future. And that's not happening so far in that other wing.
Rachel Scott joins us now. Rachel, Senator Romney acknowledges there the Republican Party is in the shadow of Trump, but it also sounds like he's still optimistic that the party can move forward.
Yeah, in fact, Lindsay, he says it will take time, but he does believe that the Republican Party can turn the page away from former President Donald Trump. He insists that polls show that young voters want to focus on the future and those key issues that you heard him mention there, not on grievances of the past. And tonight, of course, former President Donald Trump responding to this news, calling it fantastic for the country. But today, reporters did press Romney and asked if he would consider running for higher office again. He said as of now, he has no plans for any future campaigns, but he certainly did not rule it out, Lindsay.
Interesting developments there. All right, Rachel Scott from the Capitol. Thanks so much, Rachel. Millions watch Jill Duggar Dillard growing from a young teen on the reality series 19 Kids and Counting to a wife and mother on the spinoff Counting On. In her new memoir, Counting the Cost, she says the blissful scenes shown on TV were only part of the story. ABC's Juju Chang has more.
This is the story of my family. We're the Duggars.
For nearly a decade, Jill Duggar Dillard's family was a fixture on reality TV.
Listen. Listen. Good boy.
But now, in their memoir, Counting the Cost, Jill and her husband Derek describe the family drama they say the cameras didn't capture, and the price they say came with it. What were the costs in the way that you took account?
Closeness and relationships with my family, that's been one of the biggest costs that I've seen in trying to have healthy boundaries.
Jill writing about the culture of control she says she was raised in. Her parents, devout followers of the controversial former leader of IBLP, the Institute of Basic Life Principles.
One of the main themes of the book is this toxic patriarchy, this idea that parents maintain control of their children into adulthood.
The couple say Jill's father, Jim Bob, treated them harshly for trying to step back from the show. Jill claims he asked her to sign a paper on the eve of her wedding, but refused for months to show her the full filming contract she unknowingly signed.
I feel like I was tricked into it.
Derek, you're a lawyer, and you referred to this contract as a fraud.
Yes, yeah, and I still believe that. I stand behind that. It was a contract that we wouldn't have agreed to based on the terms that were given.
Jill says she filmed over 200 episodes and 24 specials with her family, but never received a paycheck until she confronted her father about it. The idea that you weren't paid and yet your wedding attracted 4.4 million viewers. You were, in many ways, the stars of the show.
Yeah, even the show soon after that was named Jill and Jessica Counting On, and we still weren't seeing income, even at that point.
You write openly you got a check for $175,000, but the revenue you generated, one could argue, was considerably more than that.
Yes.
Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar telling ABC News in a statement, in part, we've aimed to deal honorably with our children, our finances, and our other endeavors. While imperfect, it is our intent and desire to live a life that honors Christ. Jill also reflecting on her brother Josh, who she told investigators abused her as a child, though he never faced charges, and in 2022 was sentenced to 12.5 years in federal prison for receiving child pornography.
Watching the way that my parents protected my brother, and it's still hard to swallow. There's like one point where I call my dad out about it and I say, you treat me worse than you treat my brother, my pedophile brother.
Do you feel like you'll ever reach out to your brother?
I have one time, just because I didn't know what to do. I sent like a handmade Christmas card to him, but then it got sent back.
Jill says her parents did come to visit the birth of her third son, but things are still strained.
I'll see my mom at sister get-togethers for brunch or birthdays. Dad's relationship's a little more complicated.
But is it fair to say you're estranged?
Oh yeah, for sure. Some family members have reached out and said, well, if you're trying to reconcile, this is not the way to go about it, writing a book. And I was like, well, that's not my reason for writing the book.
Thanks to Juju for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, she's a multi-hyphenate performer and rising star. Coco Jones talks to us about her soulful sound and confessional lyrics. But next, doctors rush to perform emergency surgery on a toddler who swallowed 8 needles. How the 2-year-old may have found them.
Whenever news breaks,
the crushing families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas, ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
In Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
The last time I set foot on this desert road, I was reporting on Alyssa Turney.
It looks like a runaway case.
Michael Turney raised Alyssa.
Boy, did they find all kinds of other stuff.
Michael Turney wouldn't talk to the FBI, but there is one person he did speak with.
I'm John Quinones. And now, Michael Turney is sitting down with 2020 again.
Now, Friday night.
The brand new shocker.
That was the jaw drop moment.
The all-new 2020 Friday night on ABC.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Reporting from Atlanta, I'm Steve Osunsami. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Drone video out of Morocco shows damaged houses in the Atlas Mountains south of Marrakesh. The 6.8 magnitude quake killed nearly 3,000 people and injured 5,500, according to the latest official figures, making it Morocco's deadliest since 1960 and most powerful since at least 1900. Morocco's army is leading relief efforts backed by aid groups and teams sent by 4 other countries, but they've refused help from the U.S. Peruvian doctors performed emergency surgery on a 2-year-old child who accidentally swallowed 8 hypodermic needles. The child ingested the needles while playing on the farm where his mother works. The child's family presumes the needles were intended for injecting cows, and the child found them and then swallowed them. Doctors said the child is recovering quickly from surgery. Mexican lawmakers were presented with an unbelievable artifact at a congressional hearing examining UFOs. A researcher and journalist presented what he claimed were 2 bodies alleged to be non-human corpses. The mummified beings looked like something out of an old science fiction movie with elongated heads and only 3 fingers. The remains were allegedly discovered in Peru in 2017. The researcher claims that they're about 1,000 to 2,000 years old. Multi-hyphenate actor, singer, and songwriter Coco Jones has captivated audiences with her smooth and soulful sound. Raised in Nashville, Tennessee by a mother who was a singer and a father who played in the NFL, Coco's love for music and acting began at an early age, and now she is stepping into an R&B career after signing with Def Jam and releasing her major label debut EP, What I Didn't Tell You, with lead singles I See You and Caliber. Let's take a listen.
Low-key, I can see your potential. I just want to see how you handle. Just might bend the rules if you're with it. I get you can get it so.
Coco Jones joins us now in studio. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I saw you kind of grooving as soon as the song came on. It kind of makes you do that. That's just like natural, I think.
Yes, it really is. Music is so second nature. I just will be dancing and singing, not even notice that's what I'm doing.
Congratulations first on the debut EP. Give us a sense of what inspires your music and the lyrics.
You know, I come from the South, and I feel like I had to perform powerhouse music, Aretha Franklin, CeCe Winans, Roberta Flack, and it really taught me that soul can really be felt, and everyone can attach to that storyline. So I think for me, I just wanted to make music that was useful to the world and music that could be timeless, and I feel like that's what I strive to do every time.
People have really praised you for your confessional, relatable style. What inspires you as a songwriter?
I think timeless music, songs that will stand the test of time, to me, are the most inspiring. I study them, and I want to create my own version of that feeling that never expires. So I think that's where I get my inspiration from. What is a universal feeling that we will all have for the rest of our lives, and how can I make that into a song?
I want to listen to I See You. You've gotten so much recognition and praise for that one in particular. Let's take a little hit of that.
Something about your hands on my body feels better than any man I ever met. Something about the way you just give me. Try not, don't, 'cause I can't forget.
Do you know when you're writing a bunch of songs, which one is really gonna pop and which one you think you're gonna get a lot of applause and acclaim for?
You know, I really stopped trying a long time ago to figure out which one was the hit. And I just went with which songs feel the most urgent to me. I never really know what's going to happen. All I can control is what I do in the studio, that I give it my all, and whatever's meant to happen is gonna happen with the rest of it.
You've been really transparent about your experience as a Black woman, your skin color. How has that impacted you in the industry?
Being a black woman in this industry is more difficult than I feel like it should ever be. I feel like I always assumed as a young kid that talent was enough, and I had to learn the hard way that half the time people care about your talent, only half at best. So for me, I think I've tried to be very raw and honest about my plight so that the next young girl who looks like me isn't so deterred by the hills that we have to climb that we didn't ask to climb. And also so that when I get up to the top, I can bring up the next young girl who looks like me.
What can fans expect from you next?
I'm really excited for my debut album. All of these amazing things have happened just with an EP. I have an amazing team who really understands me, and I feel like that was me the freshman, and now I'm more creatively confident. I just have seen so much support, and I want to lean into my creative choices and really blow people away with my debut album next year.
And for people who might be aspiring writers, songwriters in particular, when you are deciding that you're gonna, sit down and put pen to paper, how much of it is your personal experience or friends or family members' experiences?
I think for me, I don't really want to speak on something that I can't relate to. If I can't connect it to my own life, I probably won't sing that song.
It comes through, that authenticity, and we thank you for that and joining us today.
Thank
Coco
you.
Jones, you can listen to her major label debut EP, What I Didn't Tell You, featuring hit single I See You, wherever you stream your music. And still to come, it's a fast-growing sport that appeals to just about anyone of any age. Why one Tampa man is getting so much praise for his skills on the court.
Was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on. Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live. Breaking news, exclusives, live reporting across the globe. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
You've likely heard of it by now. Pickleball is considered America's fastest growing sport, and it's appealing to people of all ages and abilities. One man in Tampa Bay lost his leg in an accident 25 years ago. Now he's a below-the-knee amputee and an expert on the court. Reporter Kyle Berger from WFTS in Tampa Bay introduces us to this 65-year-old phenom in our local lowdown.
1, 1, 2. This is where you'll find 65-year-old Buddy Hall nearly every day of the week, sometimes twice a day.
And I'm always learning something. The better players, and they're always teaching me, and I'm learning, so it's like it doesn't ever get old. I think it's called a torsion bar, but you can see how it twists.
He zips all over the court. That stop and start action puts a lot of stress on his carbon fiber foot.
I go through feet every 6 to 10 months, sometimes 3, but They're guaranteed for 3 years.
Also guaranteed, Buddy will make you work for every point.
Great get, baby. Nice shot.
His paddle is always in the right place. So when you're a partner, it's great. When you're not, it's bad. So, of course, you know if you can get it by him, you can get it by most people out here.
After his accident, Buddy was determined that nothing would bring him down.
I ended up making my own leg. Didn't have any insurance at the time. Made a PVC leg out of took a furniture. Got a piece of furniture leg, made like a pirate leg.
When he was able to get a proper prosthetic, he began playing softball and tennis. He thought pickleball, a combination of tennis, ping pong, and badminton, sounded kind of silly.
Typical male ego, I ain't playing that game. It looks too stupid. And anyway, I played, and I got hooked. I'm addicted to it now. Been for a long time. Been fun.
And for others that might feel down on their luck, Buddy has some advice.
I just want to encourage you, you know, whatever you're going through, hopefully, you know, keep trying.
Buddy, an inspiration for us all. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Have a great night. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families.